Hi everyone, I'm Chatra and welcome to another episode of Money Talks right here on Anfield Index. Right, so I've got a very interesting subject to talk about, and that's looking ahead to this summer, which will be one of the most pivotal transfer windows in the club's recent history. The potential for some significant departures means that there will certainly be the need for some significant incomings, and to assess our readiness for that window, I will be delving into the numbers, and who better to do that with than the king of transfers himself, right here in Anfield Index, the one and the only Mr. Dave Hendrick. Dave, how are you?
I'm good, Mo. I'm good. I think this is a really interesting topic, and I touched on it. Well, actually, did an entire daily read recently, kind of dedicated to this idea of what if we have to do a total rebuild?
Yeah.
What if the big three, Virgil, Mo, and Trent, all leave? I think most people's expectation right now is that Trent will go, Virgil will stay, and Mo, it's kind of up in the air with him. I lean towards thinking Mo Salah's going to stay at the club.
Yeah,
I do think Trent probably goes. I think Mo and Virgil stay. But when I look at the overall state of the club, if the three of them were to leave, I don't think it's this catastrophic, we're going to fall back to mediocrity for years type of situation, the way some people are making it out to be. And I understand why they're doing that, because rebuilds can be scary. Whenever you have to do a lot of transfer business, the possibility of it going wrong does ratchet up. But ultimately, the guy running the football club is the guy that was tasked with the rebuild in 2016.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, it was in 2016 that we did enter into almost like a purple patch of transfer activity, where the hit rate in terms of the incomings was exceptional. It was absolutely fantastic, and some inspired signings in the summer of 2016 through till the summer of 2018. That 2-year period absolutely transformed the club. And we'll come on to that, Dave, but if I can just ask you, just to kind of set the scene in terms of the context. Obviously, if we don't sign the players to new contracts, and they all go, all three of them, there will be a lot of scrutiny about the ownership with FSG as the primary owners. Now, you've got some knowledge of their kind of dealings when it comes to player trading in terms of your knowledge of baseball. So do they have kind of past history of sometimes letting big players go from their baseball franchise, the Red Sox? And if so, how have they normally reacted and dealt with those types of situations?
So traditionally, they have done this. When players get beyond the point of productivity is matching wages, the Red Sox have tended to let those players go. You can even look at players like Adrian Gonzalez and Carl Crawford, who were players they signed to enormous free agent deals who didn't work out, and they very quickly bit the bullet on those players, moved them on, even having situations where they were paying them to play for other teams, and went into a quick rebuild to reallocate their money in better ways to more productive players. Now, in recent years, any Red Sox fan will tell you there has definitely been a change in the operating procedures at the Red Sox. And after what was the greatest spell in Red Sox history with 4 World Series, it's now been 4 or 5 years of this mediocrity is the only real word to use. Yep. But baseball isn't like football, because in baseball, things can turn around very, very quickly. So the Red Sox could potentially, in 1 year, go from worst in their division to best in their division, make the playoffs and make a run at the World Series. They have made some very questionable decisions. And the most glaring one, obviously, is Mookie Betts. So Mookie Betts is one of the best players in baseball. He is the equivalent of maybe your Mo Salah. And he came up through the Red Sox farm system, was in their team, was part of the World Series win in 2018. And then he got to the point where he was starting to look for his next contract, what was going to be his big contract. And what he was asking for was a 12-year contract. And what he would eventually get with the LA Dodgers after being traded was a 12-year contract for $365 million. And the Red Sox issue with that was that at the time, Mookie Betts was 28, approaching his 29th birthday, and they didn't want to be paying a guy $30+ million a year deep into his 30s, because Mookie Betts is a smaller player, he's a speed player, he's a great hitter, and he's got good power, but he is a player that relies on speed, especially for the defensive side of things. He's a very versatile fielder, can play center field, shortstop, and second base. Those types of players don't tend to age as well as maybe a big power hitter who's less mobile and just is relying on mechanics rather than athleticism and reflexes and things like that. So the Red Sox took a hard line on him of, we're not going to give him this contract for that long. They did offer him an enormous extension, but the years weren't there. Now, they haven't been, just tight across the board. You look at someone like Rafael Devers, who plays third base for them. They gave him a massive contract. 10 years, $313 million. But he was 25 when they gave him that deal. And he is a bigger, more powerful individual. In the off season just gone, they signed Alex Bregman, a third baseman. So Devers is moving to a position now, which will be first base probably. He said he doesn't want to move, but he'll probably move to first base. And Bregman's going to come in, play third base, which requires a bit more athleticism. And they've given him 3 years, $120 million. Then Bregman has said he'll go to second base. We'll see what happens. But the point is, they are still spending money. What they're not willing to do is commit to players past the point that they predict those players are going to produce. And this is where we get back to the Mo Salah thing.
Yep.
Their stance is almost certainly, we don't want to commit 3 years to Mo when he is 33 this summer, and we feel like, well, next season he might be great, there might be 2 seasons thereafter where the production doesn't meet what we're paying it. And I would imagine Virgil at 34, they might be thinking the same type of thing.
Absolutely, yeah. And hence the impasse that's been there for a while. We do know that offers are on the table. It's not as if offers haven't been made. But you imagine that amongst other things, the duration of the contracts will be part of the sticking point between both the club and the representatives of the players. And we'll come back to that. But that was useful context in terms of FSG and how they've perhaps managed those types of situations at the Red Sox. But going back to 2016 then, Dave, and we touched upon Mr. Edwards starting the big project to rebuild the club off of a season 15-16 where though we had an exciting run in the Europa League, which was Klopp's first season at the club, where we got to the final but then lost, though finished 8th in the league, we did see revenue of £302 million that season, a wage bill of £193 million due to a number of incomings in summer 2015. We did make a £20 million loss as we went to the end of that season. But going into the summer transfer window of 2016, it was clear that in order to kick on, in order to give Klopp the players that he needed to start to turn Liverpool around, some investment was needed. There wasn't a great deal, though. There were only, I think, 4 signings that summer. Sadio Mane and Gini Wijnaldum were 2 of them. What's your view about how the club went about trying to rebuild with perhaps a somewhat low-key 2016 summer transfer window?
So I think it's important to remember that going into that summer, while you're correct, we had gotten to the Europa League final, we'd also lost the League Cup final that year. Liverpool had finished 8th in the Premier League and were not offering Champions League football to players that summer. In the previous season, we'd finished 6th. We'd been in the Champions League and we had an embarrassing exit. We dropped into the Europa League and had an embarrassing exit. The season before that, we'd finished 2nd. But before that, it was a run of 7th, 6th, 8th, and 7th. Those were the 4 seasons before the 13-14 second place finish.
Yep.
We were not a hugely attractive team to players at that point. No Champions League to offer, and other than 1 season, no qualification for Champions League. You know, it wasn't like a thing where it was a 1 season drop out of the competition the way we had last season. You know, after 22-23, we dropped into the Europa League because we had 1 bad league season. But we have been a consistent Champions League team now for years. We had not at that point. Since Rafa's last season, up until 17-18, we were only in the competition 1 year. Whereas now, you look at the situation where in 16-17, we get 4th Champions League qualification. 17-18, 4th Champions League qualification. 2nd, 1st, 3rd, 2nd, Champions League qualifiers each and every time. Champions League winners in 1 year, and 2 runners-up as well, remember. So 3 times playing in the biggest game in European club football. A 5th place finish in 22-23, a 3rd place finish in 23-24. So again, Champions League. And this season, we're going to win the league. So we're going to win the league for the 2nd time in 6 seasons. And we're going to be able to go to players this summer and say to them, come and join the champions of England. Come and play for the best team in England. Come and play Champions League football. That's a much more attractive proposition than we were in 2016. And I know we had Jurgen Klopp. And Jurgen, for a lot of players, was a significant pull. But Arne Slot is about to win a league title in his first season with the club. Arne Slot won a league title with Feyenoord. Arne Slot is a proven winner. And he's going to be able to walk in 2 meetings with players and put a Premier League title, a Premier League winners medal on the table and push it across to them and say, do you want one of them? Come and win one of them with us. Jurgen couldn't do that with us. Jurgen couldn't point to success with us. He could say, I had success at Borussia Dortmund, but even that success was 5 and 6 years in the rearview mirror. It wasn't there and then success.
Yep.
You also look at the squad. So I believe that right now in this Liverpool team,
The Reds, it's Jack here, and that was a clip from one of Anfield Index's audio podcasts. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you do like, share and subscribe to keep up to date on all things LFC. We record around 100 audio podcasts every month, with our shows featuring match-going fans, top journalists, professional analysts and even Liverpool legends along the way, with the great Dane himself, Jan Molby, joining us every single week. If you want to listen to all our podcasts for free, head over to anfieldindex.com/podcasts. Our audio shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Anfield Index. Or if you prefer to listen to all our podcasts in full and without any ads, why not head over to AI Pro today to check it out now at anfieldindexpro.com. If you want to get involved in the great growing community of Liverpool fans, check out the Anfield Index Discord. The link is in the description. Do get involved with that, from Reds around every corner of the globe. For now, Reds, hope you enjoyed this video.